Popping up. Oh, there he is. All right. It's a Walmart brand. Garlic cheese bread bowl. Make a lasagna inside of French bread.
Yummy for the tummy.
I died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. Love you for 1,000.
Why that had to make it on there? Dick Dastardly.
Welcome to the show. Sit back, relax, take a load off. Cause it's Lauries world. And we're just living in it. It's Lauries world. And we're just living in it. I pray you're not the person trying to tell her that, right? Oh no, I wouldn't do that.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming and joining me and Macha today for another episode of Off the Hip.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing today, Macha?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing good. Hectic, running back and forth from doctors and stuff all week. But you had a busy week or pretty mild?
Pretty mild so far.
Okay. Well, how's everybody doing today? Denise, Mike, Loki, Ford, Janie, Victoria. I don't know if I missed anybody else. Amanda, there you are. So we have an interesting topic today, Macha, I think.
Yeah.
You want to tell them what it is?
Oh, crap. It is. Well, hold on just a second. My thing just.
Remember, she's learning how to navigate StreamYard, guys, so we're lucky to have her.
It's about women playing victims to get men's attention or to hurt men.
Yep. So this is about real life, internet, every day we see it. We have women who they want what other women have, or they want that life. They'll trap men with pregnancies.
Yes.
They'll say that they hurt their children, from beating to even worse, false allegations that can damage a man's reputation, to them being abused or raped or assaulted, because we can't use that word.
Right.
And then, or they'll go in and they'll attack a man and then call the police and play victim, or they'll have all the men, even online, they'll attack, and then when they get attacked back, then they get all these men trying to circle them because they know how to play professional victim.
Right.
Or they use their body to have to get men over there.
Yes.
Which, sorry guys, if you go and look at a woman on the internet because of her tits or her ass or how that's your fault when you get trolled. That's all I'm going to say. I mean,
exactly.
You don't know a person. You don't know if those are real pictures or not. And yeah, that's kind of dumb. Somebody's using titties to get your attention and you think they're a good person. Ask yourself why do they feel they have to use their body to attract you? So, you had any experience in real life with women playing victims or going after men?
I mean, I've had a few, just a couple of used to be friends, I guess you could say, back in the day. They would uh, do and say different things to try to get men to get with them, so to speak, and then try to, when that guy would make them upset, then they'd make up all the lies and, oh, well, he done this, he done that, and trying to get, other guys to go after them. But I mean, that's basically it. And that was, back in school. So that's been several years ago.
In real life, for me, I had a friend that her dad was killed. We're military, and back in the 90s, from Gonda. It was around Christmas time, and a lot of the single guys gave up the first flights for the married to get back so they could be at Christmas with their families. And the plane went down, and we almost wiped out all the married people in one of the units on Fort Campbell. So she grew up without a dad. So by the time she hit 14, 15, she was looking for that attention from older men to fill that daddy role.
Right.
And if she couldn't get pregnant, she would say she was pregnant. And then when months would go by, they would ask her about it. And then she did, oh, I lost it. For that sympathy, playing on their emotions. It never worked out when you have to lie until she finally did get pregnant by an older guy and he stuck by her. But it's another relationship that's never going to last because it's built on lies.
Right.
Also, have you ever seen it online? I mean, with how big YouTube is, have you ever seen women playing victim that they don't know why the guys are going after them or why women attack them or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that several times actually here, last few months and stuff, where women have played the victim.
For me, if something doesn't work out, real life or internet, you don't, unless it really is true and you can bring the proof, don't do this. I mean, there are many men who would actually stand up and try to be a father or a friend just because a relationship doesn't work out. But these few women turn these men bitter and then wonder why they can't find a good man.
Right.
Because there's women, there's those few women. Go outside. You're lazy. There's good men, but they get burned by other crazy psychos.
Yes.
And how many men fall for I don't know why they pick on me or why they do this, but here, let me shove my titties in your face. So it totally blinds some of these men to forgetting just how bad a woman could be, that woman.
I always say a man always thinks with one head and not the other, or they always think with the wrong head and not the right one.
Yep. You got to go where the brains are at, not,
Exactly.
you got to use more than one, just that muscle, I always say. So do you wonder why some women are like that in real life?
Yeah, I do. It's, it's like, do they have, like for your example a while ago, daddy issues, or are they just maybe not so much daddy issues, or maybe they had too much attention from their father growing up and they're always, put on that pedestal like every, daughter should be with their dad, of course, but to a point to where they feel like that should be permanent, I guess, in their life.
Gotcha. I always wonder, like, are they broken? They lack confidence to stand on their own. Were they abused physically or sexually or even mentally?
Yes.
Or is it that they're just so jealous of what other women have or that they want? Because I've noticed, I had friends that they always wanted married men because they know that the married men are married. They believe in commitment and relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So if they could break up that relationship, then the guy's going to be with them.
Right. But that doesn't always work out the majority of the time, because to me, a man is not going to leave his marriage and his family. I mean, I've had several people I've known that has happened to, and the guy has always said, "Well, I'm leaving. I promise I'm leaving. I'm coming with you." But I'm going to say 95% of the time, the men are not going to leave their families, no matter what they say.
Now, what do you think that when the man does leave their family for that woman?
I think well, for one, the woman didn't need him anyway. The wife, I guess I should say, the wife didn't need him anyway. No, that's kind of harsh, but I mean, if
Uh,
he's willing to leave you and, go and be with someone else, I mean, he's just going to do it again, in my opinion. I mean,
You hit it on the nose. These women don't think that
mhm,
if you take a man from his family, especially one with kids now, he's going to do the same. Wait till you get a little older or you put on a few pounds after you have his child. What
right,
makes you think that the next chick can't take your man from you if that's how you obtained him? Let
exactly.
me turn this. I thought I turned the volume down.
I mean, my thing is do they honestly think, well, as they say, if they've done it once, they're going to do it again.
Yep.
I mean, so if he done it to his wife or would be ex-wife, then what makes you think that he's not going to do it to you also?
Yep.
I mean,
Now, Drizzle has a point, and I will grant him this. There are situations where men are unhappy. They were forced into a marriage. They tried to do the right thing.
yeah,
And they're so unhappy that when that prime example, Tim had asked his wife for a divorce. They were dating. He wanted to break it off. All of a sudden, she's pregnant. So his mom and dad talked to him about that. He didn't have to. He said, "Yes, I do. That's my child. I want him to have a home." Because
right,
he came from a broken home. After 4 or 5 years, he realized it was just miserable, and it would eventually roll down to the child.
right,
So he asked her for a divorce, and then he had training and went out, and he saw me. And in his mind, he told his friends that night that I was his future wife. I don't believe in love at first sight. But in those situations, now he's been with me for 27 years. I didn't
right,
have to trap him. I didn't set him up. I didn't have to lie. I walked into the club and he saw me, and that was it. Now, so there are circumstances where a woman could be unhappy. She's got a man who ignores her, cheats on her, abuses her, and she goes out and she
mhm,
finds somebody. It doesn't mean she's going to repeat and cheat.
no,
It doesn't mean the man's going to cheat. So I will give the benefit that I would say, a good 30% of men who cheat,
mhm,
or not even cheat, because me and Tim, he was already separated and moved into the barracks. They were still married, but they were already apart.
right,
So he didn't have any kind of physical relationship with any woman until he made that separation. But if your wife doesn't know you're unhappy and you cheat, or your husband doesn't know you're unhappy and you cheat,
mhm,
then you will repeat the pattern, in
right,
my opinion. Do
yeah,
you feel the same way?
yeah,
Hey, Tyler. Okay. Does the chat agree? Do you guys agree with those examples that there's always a circumstance where they're not always going to cheat or refit? Maybe they just didn't find the right person, but you've got to always tell that person that you're not happy before you
right,
just go cheat. And then unexpectedly, they think they have a happy home, and then they just leave you stranded, and
exactly,
they tell you you did something wrong, knowing you're lost.
right,
So women, you can't play the victim, and you can't play, "Oh, the big bad man come after me, but look at my titties or look at
right,
my ass," and expect, that people are going to value you as a woman with a mind, feelings, and respect or dignity, when you have to use your body to get their attention in the first place, because that's all you're going to be, is a slab of meat to them.
exactly,
And I'm sorry, I don't care who you're with, no matter how happy you are, there are attractive people out there. And you can notice and be like, yeah, they're good looking,
yeah,
but it's what you do.
right,
Just because you look, you're not looking, and you don't be thinking like, damn, I wish I could F that person, or I wonder what they're like. No,
Right.
because right then and there you just cross that mental line, which gives you one step closer to make it easier to cross another line.
Exactly.
Hey, Captain America, I hope you're feeling good. Well, the chat seems to agree. So the best thing to do is don't cheat. And if you want to cheat, that tells you that you're not happy where you're at. Tell them and head out. Do the
Right.
right thing.
Right. My thing, always try, if you're not happy in your relationship,
Hey, Janet.
always talk. If you feel like you can't talk to the person you're in the relationship with, then that should tell you then that you don't need to be in that relationship. Um,
Exactly.
you, well, I just lost my train of thought.
Well, what do you think are reasons why, or what reasons should, before you just up and leave somebody or up and cheat, what steps do you think they should take?
Oh, well, first, I mean, if you're having those thoughts, to me, if you need to go to the person you're with and talk it out. Like, try to identify the problem first with yourself, I guess would be the first thing. After identifying what the issue is, talk to the person you're with and see if you can work it out. If it's something that you're like, if you've lost your feelings for the person, then there's probably really no sense in trying to work it out. But
Go ahead
that's
and
my
talk a
thing.
little.
Okay. I think that should try just to try to work it out with that person. And if you've lost feelings or if they've lost feelings and you feel like it's not going to go anywhere, then I mean, it's better to cut it off before cheating. To me, you want to talk about things and try to figure out what the issue is before going and cheating.
And so many people, I've brought up this before, is so many people notice red flags before they stay in a relationship or get married, but
Mhm.
they pass it off like, oh, it's just, it'll change. I can change that. It'll be better afterward to get married, or I can change it,
Mm,
her or him. You can't.
no,
But if you choose to go forward in that relationship all the way to marriage, you can't use that as a reason to step out,
mhm,
because at one point you thought it was a cute, little annoyance, and then you're
right,
going to throw that in their face to, well, I only cheated because you don't do this. Well, if they didn't do it before you got married, how can you throw that dig in his or her face?
exactly.
So
That's I saw a thing. I can't remember if it was on Instagram, it was or a short on YouTube, but there was a woman. She actually was mad at her husband because he wasn't making enough money to support her and their child for her spending habits. I'm like, why not go out and get yourself a job and not depend on that man? But that's an example, like why would you do that? She went and to a hotel and spent, I think it was like 800 or $1,000 for one night for her and her child, and told him that he'd have to deal with the credit card later.
wow.
Yeah,
Why not even talk to him and say, hun, encourage him to be better, to want more? Like, go
right,
back to school too, or, could you get a second job? Because, I'm home with the kid, and unless you want
right,
to be home with the kids, and I can go get a part time job, because it does take two.
right,
The economy's, the prices are only going to go up,
right.
because people are getting paid more. They want more money. Well, then your cost of living is going to be higher. It takes more than one income sometimes nowadays.
Yes,
So I always said that, if you accept something of somebody before you move forward, you can't hold it against them or throw that in their face after you're together.
right,
And, but I also don't like how women shame men, or vice versa, men shaming women. Like, I cheat because of how you look, or you did this because, or you don't do this for me. She does.
right,
Well, maybe you should have asked them to do this, or to, if they, suggest something like, hey, let's hit the gym together, or let's go for a walk, or hey, would you try this with me? Because how would you know she was going to do it if you wouldn't have already done it without
Right.
even giving your spouse the option
Mm-hmm.
to grow?
Right.
So I just find that men do it. I'm not going to say they're not, but
Right.
as women, there are a lot of dirty ass hoes out here.
Yes.
And it makes men, when, you know, good guys
Mm-hmm.
with a little bad in them is always a good thing.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
want to total, even a bad guy, if he finds the right woman, you
Mhm.
can see where they do try to change some of what they do for the right person.
Right.
But these women trap these men with their bodies or with their lies, or not even trap, but get them to be attracted to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then if it doesn't work out, they don't want to look in the mirror and accept responsibility for what they did. It's always something about his genital,
Mm-hmm.
about his money, his job.
Mm-hmm.
It's always got to berate the man, put the man down. But if a man puts you down, you're the victim. You're going
Exactly.
to cry.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised, my mom always told me, if you go at a man, then you better be prepared to take what he does back to you.
Exactly.
Give as good as you get.
Mm-hmm.
And I live by that. And my stepdad used to be really uh well, he wasn't a good guy, but his world is that he didn't care if my brother got hit by a girl, he was to take it because that was a girl.
Right.
I don't believe in that. Now, I don't believe if a woman comes up and slaps you that you take your fist with your full strength and knock her out.
Right.
But there are steps. One, you're stronger, grab her arms and pin him down to her side.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't work and she goes dirty shot with her feet, then nothing wrong with you enveloping her in a bear hug and taking her down to the ground, or just wrapping her ass up.
Mm-hmm.
And the next step, she slaps you again, slap her ass.
Right.
But don't use your full strength, because you know how she slapped you hurt your pride more than it hurt your body. So don't have to use your full muscles to do that. But I always told my son, if a woman comes at you with her words, walk away. If
Mm-hmm.
she puts hands on you, detain her.
Yeah.
If she continues to be aggressive and come at you, match it. Don't exceed it. Never exceed it. Because too many women think it's okay to go up and spit in a man's face, slap him, kick him in the balls, and they're supposed to take it because, oh, don't hit me. I'm a woman. I'll call
Right.
the police. I'd
Yeah.
rather you go to ahead and call the police, bitch. I
Mm-hmm.
told my son, I'll bail your ass out.
Right.
I don't want him to ever beat a woman, but I want him to have respect for women. But I also believe that these women better teach their girls have respect for men.
Mm-hmm.
Quit hiding behind your vagina and your
Exactly.
sexuality.
Yep.
But then turn around and say that it's not right that men make more money than you. You want equality.
Mm.
I just can't get into that. Hey, bad
No.
attitude. Welcome.
No. I'm not one that feminist. I don't know if you'd want to talk about anything like that, so I'm not going to
Go
go into
ahead.
it.
No, go ahead.
But stuff like that makes me angry because to me, there's a line drawn. I understand women wanting to be, independent. I get that. I'm like that. I've been like that just about, well, I can't say all my life, but most of my life. And, they want to do, the construction jobs. They want to do, um, which is fine to a point, but don't expect, if you're going to be like that, don't expect to be treated differently from the men. If you're going to do that job, then you need to be expected to be treated as a man.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I believe, and people, I said I gave up my feminist card
Mhm.
because of today's feminists. One, we fought hard. Our great grandparents or grandmothers fought hard for what we had today.
Mhm.
These women today are allowing men who can't cut it as men to pretend to be women and take our young girls' scholarships in
Mhm.
sports.
Yep.
Uh, in all aspects. And they are okay telling their daughters they could be whatever they want, but yet standing by while the few dictate that we're losing our rights for our young girls. They're not going to have, in 20 years at this rate, they're not going to have what we've enjoyed.
Right.
And it just is, it's embarrassing that
It is.
these young moms are telling their daughters this, or they're demanding equal pay. Now, in the military, there's all kinds of branches and all different MOSs and all different military branches, from the Navy, the Army. You know, there's similar jobs, but they're also different jobs, right?
Right.
Combat arms. Let's take Tim's job. He was on a tank. It's a small, hot, armored vehicle, not a lot of space. 4 people need to be in there. You've got the gunner, the driver, you've got the loader that does the ammo, and the tank commander. Now, women want to be in those combat MOSs. Well, think about this. There's no bathrooms. You're out there in the middle, like, let's say at the war, you're in the middle of battle. They're supposed to stop to find you someplace private to use the bathroom. And how do you take care of your feminine needs?
Right.
Or you can't load those rounds. I mean, I've tried. I'm a big chick. I can't lift that. And especially that hot, when you're loading them, they're being out and all that heat from the ammo and everything. But yet they want to be in a combat MOS. They can't carry the equipment. Hold on. Somebody's walking a big dog out.
Uh-oh. Hey, everyone in the chat. Sorry I haven't said anything, but hi. Thank you guys for showing up.
All right. They can't carry the big guns, the heavier rucksacks. Some can. Now, I say if a woman can meet the same criteria, PT and all, we have a different criteria for women as we do men for PT.
Right.
They don't have to do as many push-ups. They don't have to do as many sit-ups. They don't have to run in the same amount of time. So they're getting paid the exact same thing as a man. They don't have to be physically as fit as a man.
Right.
They don't have to carry or do as much as a man. But yet they get promoted based on being a woman and because they want to be in there.
See,
Now, I don't
think
find
that's right.
that fair.
No, I don't think it. If you can't do the job to its full extent, then you shouldn't be getting the same exact pay as the man is getting.
And I don't believe in getting a job, a promotion, or the same pay based on color, sexuality. If you, and I don't believe that you should promote a college person over a non-college, because if that person that doesn't have a college degree is doing the job better than that person with the degree, they earn that promotion.
Exactly.
I think it should be based on skill, competency, stuff like that. I don't want to be given a position because I'm a woman with a vagina.
Right.
I want to have earned it because I am the better person. But there's so many women who hide behind this.
Yeah.
And I don't buy it. I don't believe in it, and I don't accept it. And I don't want any part of this new liberal standards of what it means to be a feminine.
No.
I mean, who walks around with a vagina hat on your head?
Right.
You just made yourself look stupid to millions of other people.
Exactly.
So, unfortunately, men in our society get the shaft. I had to raise my son. Now, they say they want equality, but then they want the man to be the breadwinner and to take care of them. All of us that have sons, our sons are born knowing that when they become men, it's going to be on them to be the breadwinner of their families. Now, not all women are like this, but I'm saying the majority. Our boys are being taught in this mindset from school on that when you get married, you're going to be the one that has to go to work because she's wanting to be with the kids, or you're going to have to do this and that. So we're already making our sons feel that pressure.
Mhm.
I refuse to. I told my son, you're going to be a child as long as you want, as you can. I let him do his sports. I let him do his friends, and then once he hit 16, then it was like, all right, we got to start buckling down. I only have a couple more years. You want extra than what I'm allocating for clothes or your accessories, your shoes, your jewelry. You got to get a job.
Mhm.
It's for your extras, not to pay rent, not to give me any money. This is for you. What you're going to have to learn the value of what you want, what it really takes.
Mhm.
He had to have a bank account, had to learn how to save. I started teaching him just his own, not all the time, but when he didn't have sports or anything like that, how to do his own laundry.
Right.
You go to college or you join the military, whatever you do, you're going to have to do your own laundry. Mom's not going to be there. And but he still was allowed to go out with his friends. It's like, you know what? It's a nice day. You want your friends? Go on. I've got
Yeah.
this. They had chores,
Right.
jobs, because at 18, and then when he hit 17, hey, Stacks, I had to start. Hi, Todd, father. I started teaching him how to cook easy stuff that he could do in the dorms or with just one of those electric fryers that you plug in, the rectangle ones, squares with the
Mhm.
lids. You could make hot dogs in there, hamburger helper, fried foods, whatever, but just basic meals that he could feed himself if he missed the chow hall or he didn't get to the cafeteria in college. I wanted him to be skilled just enough to be able to stand on his own 2 feet.
Right. See, that's
And
the thing.
he appreciated that.
That's the thing, like with sorry, I didn't mean to
No, it's
interrupt.
okay.
That's the thing that always gets me too is, I'm all for women being independent. The more independent you are, great. I'm happy, but also the men should be taught to be independent also. Because there's a lot of men out there that is not taught independence. And it's sad because to me, men should be it should be equal, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You're right. Yeah. How do you think it should be? We already are teaching our sons, like I said, how to be independent and responsible.
Mhm.
A lot of women aren't, especially older, like even my generation. Well, I'm going to say my mom's because I was more free thinking on my own. But even as my mom's only 16 years older than me,
Mhm.
she was told that you could be a wife, a secretary, a receptionist, a nurse, but that's about all. A cashier. Don't strive for too much. Hey,
Right.
Rip It, Glory, Brookie. So I was like, luckily, when I started coming, I was like, no, I'm going to be whatever I want to be. And
Mhm.
she didn't know how to relate to me. But what things do you think moms today with young girls should be teaching their daughters so that they become independent and want to take care of themselves and be the best that they can be?
Mhm.
What values should they start teaching them that most of us teach our sons? What are your thoughts on what a woman should be taught?
Well, I mean, of course, the obvious that what everybody thinks women should do, the cooking, cleaning, they should be able to be taught how to do housework, so to speak. Also, you need to be taught, like you were saying with your son, bank account. They need to learn how to save money. They need to learn to get, when you turn 16, they need, if they're going to purchase a car, they need to make their own payments. Uh, I mean, basically just everything that you would teach. I mean, oh, sorry.
No, it's
Uh,
okay.
but I mean, they should be taught to, I mean, if you're going to get a job or if you're going to do chores, then we're going to give you, X amount of money, and this X amount of money has got to last you for this amount of time. And if it doesn't, then you're SOL. I mean, to me, that helps people with independence.
I think a lot of fathers end up, and this is where I think us women are teaching our sons what they need to do, right? And then they follow their dad's examples too.
Mhm.
But I think more fathers should step up and start teaching their daughters at a young age that you can be what you want. You shouldn't depend on somebody else.
Mhm.
At 16, the job, the accounts, learning to do your laundry, learning that it's not always your job's not just about housework. You need to start looking outside of the house, get yourself a job, learn your
Right.
independence,
Mhm.
pay this, if we get you this, you're going to make the payments. Like we put the deposit down and got our daughter her first car, but she had to make the payments. We didn't
Right.
pay it. And she
Right.
didn't understand that, why she had to. It's because I'm not always going to be here. It's not my
Mhm.
job to take care of you after the age. And that's another thing. At 18, come on, guys. If they're in school, yes, help them till they graduate college. But if they don't go to school, your job is done. That's
Right.
their choice to just sit on their ass. Nope, go.
Right.
You're just coddling them so that they're going to be leeching off another man or another person in society and never have that drive or the experience to stand on their own 2 feet. They're going to hide behind their looks, their
Mhm.
vagina, or their body.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
going to sling it, give it away freely, or never be able to commit because they have nothing to offer a partner to be an equal. Because if you're not equal to that person that you want to be with, they're going to get bored. It's not
Mhm.
their job to be your mommy or your daddy
No.
once you're an adult. It's just that simple.
Mhm.
Yes, I do think, like Rippet said, the girls are being raised today to resent men, but
Mhm.
yet when they get, then they're going to want a man to take care of them. But don't be a man, that toxic masculinity crap that doesn't exist,
Right.
because I need a strong man, but yet, oh, that strong man looked at me. Oh, don't look at me. But then if a strong man ignores her, oh, what's your problem? You can't hold the door for me? I mean, you
Right.
can't have it both ways.
Right. Exactly.
So, ladies, if you want the respect of the men out here in the world today and you wonder why you don't have respect or why men dog you, look in the mirror. It starts with how you are treating the men and how you come across. Quit hiding and using your vagina, your boobs, your ass, or your face to count on taking you places.
Yep.
Use your brain, your mouth, and your thoughts,
Because
your actions.
your looks will only get you so far for so long. I
Yeah.
mean, heck, once a woman turns what, 30, 35, everything starts changing and things
Yep.
aren't as perky or as as they used
Yep.
to be. I mean, it just happens. I mean, what's going to happen when you turn 30 or 40 and you've went by your looks the whole time and your body has changed so much? Like, what are you going to do then?
Yep.
What can you turn to?
Yep. And we've seen it. Look
Mhm.
at some of the 30 and 40-year-olds on here, on YouTube and real life, that
Mm.
criticize other women,
Mhm.
but yet they hide behind all that makeup, filter,
Mhm.
well, in real life, makeup,
Mhm.
skimpy clothing, exposing their body so people look other places, or filters online.
Mhm.
But then they're always the first to judge other women.
Mhm.
Yet you can tell it's a deflection because they're not happy with themselves.
Right. Any woman
And
that puts another woman down, sorry,
no, go
any
ahead.
woman that puts another woman down, to me, they're insecure in themselves already.
Yep. Now, on the flip side of that, if a woman comes at you and you take it back to her level,
Mhm.
fair is fair. Don't cry. That's another type of the victim I wanted to talk about. You attack a woman or her man,
Mhm.
and then when they attack you back, it's, oh, here she's attacking a woman, or oh, her man's coming at me.
Mhm.
Then keep that woman's man out of your mouth,
Exactly.
because no woman's going to stand by and let her man be dogged by another woman.
No.
In real life, I'd just walk up on you and beat the living tar out of you. You can
Yeah.
talk about me all you want. Call me any name you want. And I'll
Mm.
just look you in the face and be like,
Yeah. Whatever.
eh, I am.
Right.
Call me a bitch. Call me a cunt. Call me whatever you want. Call me a grandma. Call me an oldie. I am. I'm
Mm.
proud of it.
Right.
I'm the one not using filters. I'm the
Mhm.
one that has shown what I look like. Can you do the same?
Right.
If you can't, who are you to judge me? Do you think I care what you think about how I look? No.
Right.
So women got to learn you can't have it both ways. You want equal rights, you want to be independent, but then you expect men to change who they are to fit your criteria, to fit in. Whoever termed the coin toxic masculinity is one of those women that have either never been with a real man, can't attract a real man,
Right.
or had one and couldn't keep them.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. I want my man to be a man,
Yes.
and I want us women to be able to be women.
Right.
And you could be a strong, fierce, independent woman who can kick ass, take names, but the man should be allowed to do that. And I also want a man who every once in a while lets you know he's got a soft side and how he feels about you. He wants to cry a little bit, let him. I don't want a weepy man that cries at every movie or every song, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
But if the situation is a place where we're being vulnerable, let me know it. Let me see that side.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing sexier to me than that.
Yes.
But
No.
some women, they want to dog a man for that.
Yeah. And to me, I mean, I would rather have a man, like you said, not super sensitive, but if he's feeling a certain way, like if something happens and he's upset or sad, if he wants to let it out, let it out. To me, that doesn't make you any less of a man. I mean,
Nope.
men have emotions like women. I mean, yes, we're a little more emotional than men because, hormones and all that. But I mean, I would rather have a man that can show me how he's feeling than to just sit there and be stone cold.
Yep. Or in one ear and out the other.
Yes.
Yep. And Rip It, you have a good point. Rip It says her and her daughter go at it all the time, and it's sad. There's reasons for that, Rip It, and I'm going to give you a couple reasons, and I'll see if Macha has any reasons in her opinion. Ryder, to me, girls start going at their mom about 15. It's not that you're a failure, and I'm going to tell you why, Rip It. So if nothing else, please listen to what I'm going to say, because it happens to all of us. We've done it to our moms. Around the age of 15, we're starting to mature. We're wanting a boyfriend. We're wanting that dating and that relationship and stuff. We want what our moms are at. We want exactly the same things, but we already are acting and thinking we're grown and don't understand why our moms are here and giving us advice on from their experience. So we're resenting our moms for trying to tell us what we're already in our head thinking we're grown. We don't want what you have. We want this. But we're not stopping to think as young children, as teenagers, what our moms are trying to guide us to, so that maybe what I had to tell my daughter, because we still butt heads today and she's going to be 30, is what I'm telling you is not trying to live your life. I'm trying to stop you from making, I see you a path. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. So if I can avoid you hitting this wall, so you move past it and keep going, that's what I'm trying to do. But as daughters, we don't see that. We think it's a control issue.
Mm-hmm.
And we might resent our mom. So we take it out. Or it's, I want what my mom has, but I don't want to put in the work, or I don't know how to say that or do it. So it comes out in anger. That's just my opinion. Do you have an opinion on why moms and daughters fight too, Macha?
That's what you said. Basically, for me, it hits it on the nail on the head, as they say. I mean, it's about when I was probably 11 or 12 when I started butting heads with my mom. But I mean, me and my mom now, we've always been close. But now looking back, it's just like you said, I mean, I was always, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't understand. The times are different. No, honey. Now you
Yeah.
know.
Times are different, but what we don't realize until we're older, there's a
Mhm,
lot of the same building blocks,
mhm.
no matter from generation to generation. For us women, we have the same pitfalls. And if we can avoid it, for me, I always thought my mom was weak because she settled, she got pregnant young, that she dropped out of school. Now she went back and got her GED, but I was like, I always looked at my mom as, how can you help me when you did this, this, and this? And I'm not making these mistakes, without realizing the mistakes my mom made and her talking to me was to show me that, look, you're right. You don't want this life. You don't want to be like me. So I'm trying to help you
Right.
jump over me, because if you succeed, that's what's important to me.
Hmm.
And it took me many years after having kids and all that I started seeing where, when I tell her that she didn't, when she's like, I'm so proud of how the woman that I raised you to be, I'd always be like, no, I made my own choices. I'm who I am because of me. I didn't follow you. But
Right.
in a way, she's right. She showed me how her life is. And because I didn't want to have that same kind of life, she literally was showing me and taught me through her mistakes without her even knowing. It was a learning lesson, but it took me many, many years, Rip It. There's going to come a time where your daughter's going to appreciate you. And it could be 20 more years from now. But there's going to be a time where it's on her, not you, Rip It. It's an immaturity level in her somewhere that hasn't clicked in yet, that one day it'll all make sense to her.
Hmm.
And hopefully, like I told my daughter, I hope that when it clicks in your mind, it's not after I'm gone what you had in me. And that's all we could pray for.
Hmm.
So, but we make our women, our daughters weak. We are raising these women today. The generation right now of the gimme, gimme, gimme,
Hmm.
hate, 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 I'm entitled, that's the mom's fault,
Hmm.
because they didn't either give a stronger example, or, you know what, I'm not even going to blame the parent, because you know what, I just made the same mistake that I'm against. Once you're 18 and they're in school, or even before 18, the school has a lot of influence.
Hmm.
Friends have a lot of influence,
Oh, yeah.
no matter how hard the parents try, because the harder you hold on, the more your child's going to act out against you,
Hmm.
because that's what their friends say. Hey, Yankees. So I'm not going to blame the parent, because if a guy goes out and rapes women, it's not the mom or dad's fault.
No.
That's that
No.
person's fault. So when these girls are acting the way they are today, it's because they themselves are weak.
Hmm.
They're pathetic.
Hmm.
They're insecure. It is not the mom's fault. It's not the dad's fault. They could have coddled them too much to begin with. That's true. But you only have so much time with your children. So you want to give them all that you have, so that hopefully when they grow up, they want to come back. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But never blame a parent. When you see a guy that's on trial for murdering his girlfriend, or, don't take it out on the parents, because you know what? The parents weren't teaching them how to go out and kill, unless the
Right.
dad's a known killer, a parent. The
Mm.
parents do the best they can based on how they were raised. So they try to do better. Each generation, we are getting better. But we can't hold men responsible for actions of other men.
No.
We can't carry the same with women either,
Mm.
but we can't blame parents,
No.
and you can't blame society, because if I don't have a criminal record.
Mm.
So put me next to somebody, a female who's been arrested for cooking meth, or is a prostitute, or anything like that, and put us side by side. She had a mom. I have a mom.
Hmm.
It's her choices, not her mom's choices on why she was the way she was. And it's not my mom's choices, what she made, that made me who I am.
Right.
We have our own brains, we have our own thoughts, and we have our own abilities to get off our ass and be more than what we want. Hey, Shadi, thanks for coming. So I don't believe in blaming the parents. I believe take personal responsibility for your own shit.
Hmm.
What are your feelings on the way women are today, and on that?
Um, Women today, it's actually, a lot of women are probably may or may not. Most of them in here seem to be thinking the same way we do, but I'm kind of ashamed of women these days. I really am. I mean, it's sad that it has come to what it has in the society. Um, I just I just don't like it. I don't know how to put it into words. It's just one of those things. It's something that really is irritating to me, and that I wished. I know it probably sounds like, well, great, or my grandparents used to say it. I wished it could go back to the olden days, as they would say,
Yeah.
because it's sad, and I gotta say I'm ashamed
Yeah.
sometimes.
Look, I'll put it out there. I love my daughter, but I hate majority of everything that she's accomplished so far because there's not a lot. She gave me the most beautiful gift in the whole wide world. I'll always, well, two gifts. She was given to me. She's my daughter, which I'll always be grateful and thankful to God for that. But
Mhm.
she gave me my grandson, which is a true blessing from heaven above. And those are the two best things that she's ever given me. It's my daughter, being my daughter, and being my giving me my grandson.
Right.
But she has wasted from 18 to 30 between off and on when she wanted to do drugs, the choices that she makes, blowing off free college that was a given to her by us
Mhm.
for friends, parties.
Mhm.
She turned into be a very selfish, um, gimme, gimme. I'm entitled to everything. What you built is for me. How
Mhm.
dare you do? It's that mentality.
Right.
And I literally hate those attributes of her. I
Right.
love her, but I hate the things, the choices, and the woman she's choosing to be
Right.
when she could be so much more.
Mhm.
And it ain't my choice because I don't have a criminal record. I didn't steal. Uh, I didn't do drugs. I don't have a criminal record. When I got divorced and I was a single mom, I joined the military to do better for my child and myself without having to depend on a man.
Mhm.
You can't depend on mommy and daddy to pay your bills when you run short on your paycheck. You can't depend on somebody else to pay your bills because you can't do it.
Right.
Figure out a way. If
Mhm.
you're working Monday through Friday, I don't care if you want your weekends free. If you can't pay your damn bills, get a weekend job.
Exactly. Well, that's like my parents. Um, my mother, she worked 2 jobs. My dad, he at one point was working 3 jobs. He had a full-time and 2 part-time jobs
Yeah.
because they had 3 children, and so there was 5 people in our household. And seeing that growing up, I mean, it was sad because they didn't get to spend a lot of time with us, but they also had a roof over our head, food on the table, electric was on, water. I mean,
Yeah.
you see so many sacrifices, and it's like if my parents could do that. I think of this, it's like if my parents can do that, then I can do that. Like,
Yep.
yes, I want to go hang out with friends and have fun and party and everything, but also I need to make sure that my stuff is paid for.
And you just brought up something that one of the biggest reasons is I always tried to teach my kids, and this is how I live. Because even when me and Tim got together, he was only an E4 in the Army. And most people, if you're familiar with the Army, it's not a lot of money. Okay.
Mhm.
And back then, we were only 13% paid above welfare. And that's when we had free medical, free housing, and stuff like that. Now you have to pay a certain amount over the electric, certain amount over the water. You pay for your medical, not full medical, but we do have to pay a premium to the military in order to have our benefits for our medical and dental now.
Mhm.
So it could even be we're equal with those on welfare. They get as much, if not more, than we do. But it was that and I lost my train of thought explaining that part. You had said something in your last comment, and what was that? What do you remember? I'm trying to remember
want
what you.
to go out and, let's see, hang out with friends and
Yes, thank you. I always have been teaching my kids is before you plan to go out with your friends to a movie on Friday night,
mhm,
bills come first.
mhm,
You pay everything that you owe. And if it's not due for another 10 days, but you know you won't get paid till after that 10 days, instead of making that bill late, you pay everything out of that paycheck.
mhm,
That way your next paycheck's free and clear. So you'll know that you got all that money to spend and you only got this little bit for these 2 weeks.
right,
So your bills come first, then your needs. You need a jacket, you need gas, you need lunch money for the week. That's your next, or you need a new uniform, or you need some clothes for work. After you pay your bills, then you do your responsibilities that are needed.
mhm,
Underwear, socks, shoe, whatever.
right,
After that, whatever's left, that is your spending money for fun.
mhm,
Don't go out, plan trips, go have fun. And then when you can't pay your bills, then you're short and you make your bills late, which is going to affect your credit, or you need to come to mommy and daddy, or somebody else is responsible for your bills.
mhm,
It's not the bill collector's job to come after you. You
right,
took that product, you owe that person that money.
mhm,
They don't care that you want to go out and party tonight or go out and celebrate a birthday party.
right,
Pay your bills first. And
mhm,
if you're short, say, look, I can't do it this weekend, but I'll be able to next weekend or whatever.
right,
So many people don't. They live paycheck to paycheck. They put their needs, their wants above their needs
right,
and their responsibility,
mhm, and
and
then
then
wonder
wonder
why.
why.
Yeah, jinx.
Did you? Go ahead. What you gonna say?
No, that's what I was just gonna. I was thinking the same thing.
And
Yeah,
what else do you feel on that subject about the responsibility versus the wants and the desires?
when you're younger, it's hard um, to do that, and I get that. But to, I'm to the point in life, which I mean, I'm older now, but I would rather have my bills paid than to go out and have fun, you know? And I mean, a lot of people are like, you're still young, you can get out and you can still do this and do that. And I'm like, I mean, if my bills are paid and everything, then fine. I won't mind, to go out and stuff, but I'm not going to blow all of my money to do so because I know that I've got to live. I'm an adult. But now being a younger, I didn't care. I'd get paid and run out and have all kinds of fun. I mean, I didn't never bothered me, but now no.
For me, I've always been the where I always lived by that rule because I didn't want to live paycheck to paycheck like I saw my parents doing. But
Mhm,
at that age, I didn't realize that's what the military most have to. I always have been one that I get so much enjoyment knowing my bills are paid.
mhm,
Even if I only have 20 bucks left,
mhm,
I don't have to go anywhere, but I could sit back and be like, this is mine.
mhm.
Nobody can take it another month. It's all mine. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Excitable puppies, pit bulls.
Oh,
He saw it. He was outside chasing a car and comes in and wants to bark because the other ones aren't barking and he's trying to get them to join him. But there just comes not a pleasure, but a sense of accomplishment
mhm,
knowing you did something and got it played. And like uh, in the past, Tim will come in and be like, hey, am I going to be able to go do this? And I'll be looking at him like, yes, you can. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yes, you can. And he's
mhm.
like, okay. So he don't even ask. He just asked me, he's like, hey, babe, can I go get this? Or can I? Yep, yes, you
Yeah,
can.
no,
And he knows he never has to worry about like, is she letting me do this? Did the car payment get paid? Did the rent? or not the rent, did the house payment get paid? Never has to worry about anything, because I just love first of the month. Everybody knows when you got to pay bills, it hurts, it sucks for all of us.
Oh
But
yeah.
I love doing it because I like to see, all right, I've paid this off. Hey, Roland, I've done this. Now I'm paying the bills for this much. How much are we going to have left over? It's like a challenge to me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this paid off. Let's get this paid off. How much more money am I going to have this month to put into the savings, or to be able to do this, or surprise Tim with it? It's a challenge, a personal satisfactory challenge that I put on myself.
Mm-hmm.
What do you look forward to as that?
Well, that's my husband's about the same as yours when it comes to that. He's like, you're the money person. You know how to handle it. I'll let you handle it. And I mean, he does the same thing. He'll come to me, do we have enough to do this? Or, can we do this? Or can I do that? Or whatever. It's not asking for permission.
Nope.
It's just asking, okay, how are we on this? Because he tells me all the time, he's like, I don't even look at the bank account anymore. He's like, I don't worry about it because I know you've got us.
Yep.
And he said, as long as you say we're good, then I believe we're good. So, I mean, it's about the same way with us. I mean, I handle the finances and he basically makes sure everything is taken care of. So,
For a while when we first got married, because he took on a lot of his ex's debt so that she would just sign the divorce papers and move on.
right.
I told him, I can get us where you're out of debt. I said, you've got to give me 10 years, because it was a lot, because she had a power of attorney when he was deployed, and she ran up all kinds of Fashion Bugs and Cato, all these little shops, and had all these high interest rates.
Right.
And that was a part. She goes, if you want a divorce without me dragging my heels, you've got to accept this. Well, it was a power of attorney in his name. He was stuck anyways.
Right.
So I'm looking at what he's making. Literally, I'm like, all right, this is all that's coming in. I'm working. So give me 10 years and I guarantee you'll never have to ask if we have money again.
Mhm.
He said, all right. I said, that means I have to have your debit card,
Mhm.
the checkbook, everything. And I will give you cash that you need so much, a week. I'll make sure you have all your uniforms, everything that you need for your military career and the bills first. And then I'll make sure you have money.
Right.
So he used to joke that when he'd get frustrated, he'd have $10 in his wallet and he'd see the other drill sergeants who were single pulling out hundreds. And I said, don't worry, there's going to come a day where you're going to be 10 times what you're seeing now.
Right.
It took me only 5 years, but I put it together. I got all of his exes, all their debt, everything. And to the point where now he doesn't have access to the checkbook, which we don't have to use much anymore. I think there's like 3 bills I mail a check into now, but
Mhm.
he has a debit card, and all he does is he uses it, and then he comes and tells me at the end of the day, hey babe, I just so you know, I took this out, because he knows that I've got him he's taken care of.
Right.
He can just do it, and he never has to worry, because he knows that if something's up, I'm going to come tell him.
Right.
So it's a trust. But there are so many women who they want to be the taker and not a giver, and
Mhm.
expect the same results, and wonder why their relationships fail, and why nobody wants to marry them, or why nobody is engaged to them, or nobody wants to date them.
Mhm.
It's because you think you're a self-entitled princess when really you're a leech on society.
Mhm.
Take stock and value in yourself. If you don't value yourself, you're just going to come across as a weak, pathetic to a man.
Mhm. There would be no respect. No,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to look at you as as they should.
Yeah. They might want to dick you down, as the polite word would be. They
Mhm.
might want to have sex with you.
Mhm.
But that's all you are. You're
Mhm.
just another garage for them to park their
Yep.
car for a few minutes.
Mhm.
And then they're going to go back to their wives. So you're basically somebody's sloppy seconds.
Yep.
Or thirds or fourths. Because if they're dicking you down, they're probably doing it to somebody else too.
Oh, yeah.
So, and women have to be learned and taught. Well, not even taught. They have to do it for themselves. They've got to learn self-respect.
Yes.
That's the key. We can't depend on our moms and our dads to teach us. Nobody can teach you self-respect.
Mm-mm.
That's something that you want for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I am so tired of hearing every day, this man got locked up for domestic violence. And then you research it and you find out she slapped him and all he did was hold her down and she rubbed her wrist and rubs it and it's got a red mark. So he's being dragged off.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if he's got a red mark on his face.
Right.
He's the man. He's going to jail.
That's not right.
I don't think so either.
Mm-mm.
If you're going to take his ass, lock the hoe up too.
Exactly.
So you want to dish it, but you don't want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Get off our men's nuts. You want them to be this way, but then they can't be this way. You're neutering them or trying to neuter our men.
Mm-hmm.
And then wondering and asking yourself why you don't have one.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just, it's weird. I mean, when you look for a man or as a woman, okay, let me put that differently. Before you got married, before you met him or as you met him, what did you want him to see you as?
Well, I was actually, our relationship was started off a little different than most. But honestly, with him, I never saw him as nothing more than a friend. So he kind of got to know who I really was in the beginning. So, like, I never really thought of that. I never tried to show that. But with my ex before him, uh, now him, I tried to impress. I tried to show I was a girly girl, because that was the type he liked. I put myself as something that I wasn't, and that was the biggest mistake ever. But with my husband now, like, I mean, we were best friends. We basically, I mean, we were friends before anything. So I never really thought about anything with him, trying to impress him or anything. He saw the good in me. He saw my bad days, my good days. I mean, so.
Well, what did you want him to see in you as a friend, as somebody that was without looking at you as just a piece of meat? Like, what attributes do you think that you want him as to see you as a good person, as a friend for that relationship?
That I was, I mean, I wanted him to know that, he could talk to me about anything. I was a loyal friend. I didn't depend on him to fight my battles, so independence. Um, that's really all. I mean, I'm sure there's more. I just can't
off the top of your
yeah, I've never really actually thought about that. I guess because the way the relationship started, it just.
Okay. See, for me, when I walked in, I wasn't expecting, but when we did look at it, he looked at me and our eyes locked. And I kind of, honestly, I've told everybody, I was like, I know who I'm going home with tonight. He was just going to be a one night. I was getting out of a marriage. We were best friends still. He didn't cheat on me. He didn't do anything bad. It's just we became roommates, more as friends. Commitments with kids and jobs and works. We just kind of became best friends. And that was it. I knew there was more. But when I locked eyes, my thought was like, I know where I'm going tonight. Just a one night stand. That was it. But I wanted, when he wanted my number, because he asked if I wanted his, I said no. I gave him mine. But as it started going and I started looking at him, that possibly, like, this is somebody that I could see dating, I
Mm.
wanted him to see me not just on my outer looks. And I wanted him to see that I had a mind, that I could be trusted. I was loyal. I'll give as good as I get. That I could be compassionate, passionate, but I could also be a royal bitch. It's how you treat me. That what you give is what I'll give. I'll match that and go above,
Mhm.
good or bad.
Mhm.
But I want you to look at me, who I am in the inside, my mind, and who I am as a person, not what you're looking at on the outside.
Mhm.
And that's how I want everybody. I want them to see that, when I'm walking down the street, it don't matter if I'm in good shape. I don't mind a whistle or a compliment. I'm not one of the, I'll take it, you know. But I don't want you to hook up with me because you just see me as a convenient piece of ass, or um, I, eye candy, or a trophy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I want you to be with me because you see me for
Right.
who I am.
Mhm.
So many women don't have that same respect for themselves. They want to be noticed based on how they look.
Mhm.
So they dress skimpy, they flash their bodies, they wear those shorts that everything's there.
Mhm.
If you don't have nothing to the imagination, no matter how thin I am, or how thin I used to even be, I always wear shirts that are usually a size or two bigger.
Mhm.
My jeans a little bit bigger and baggy, because when I'm ready, I want you to be like, oh, okay, I see you. That's
Right.
what I want, because I'm saving it for you. It's for who I choose to see.
Mhm.
If you're already showing everything you've got and you don't leave nothing to the imagination, everybody loves to open a Christmas present, right?
Mhm.
Or a birthday or an anniversary. If they have nothing to unwrap to see what's underneath, do you think they're going to come back?
Mhm.
They see it, they'll
Mhm.
look, they might want to touch, but when they realize that to me, if a woman's exposing herself like that, it's because she lacks other areas in her life,
Mhm.
self respect or confidence or brains or the ability to be independent. So she's trying to get people to look at her based on what she looks like, to blind you from everything else that she doesn't have.
Mhm. I would have to agree.
Okay. What are your thoughts when you see a half naked woman walking down with her bottom of her boobs or side boobs hanging out, booty shorts up where you see the butt cheeks, and her thongs sticking out of the top?
Mm. I look at my husband and say, "Do you want to hit that?" I'm just joking.
No, no, it's funny because I'll even joke. I'll be like, Tim,
Yeah.
check that out. And he'll like look and it'd be like, yeah, that just tells you that, she'll, he usually uses the term, she'll fuck anything, because that's why
Mhm.
she's dressed like that.
Yeah.
Just pay her a compliment, tell her she's sexy. And those are the kind of girls that, all you have to do is melt them a little bit by giving them a compliment, and they'll spread like butter does on toast.
Mhm.
He says those aren't the type. He said a lot of men don't want that. Those that do, they're just looking for something to hit and quit.
Yeah.
That's why there's so many of those that are single and will remain single.
Mhm.
Hey, true Texan. And Mike's right. Those outfits, these girls think, hey, respect me. And
Mm.
they don't.
No.
You're doing the complete, when you have to be on YouTube with your underwear or your boobs hanging out, or you're in real life and you've got your thongs and your booty hanging out, or your vagina lips. I mean, you got your shorts so
Mhm.
short that you can see your outline, or you're even a bigger girl wearing yoga pants when you could count the
Oh
cellulite
God.
all the way down.
Yeah.
All that's showing is like, look at how nasty I am. I have no respect for myself. I don't want you to respect me.
Mhm.
You don't have to respect me. Just pay me a compliment. I'm easy.
Right. Yeah,
That's
that's the
an
impression
opinion.
I get. Yeah. And I always wonder also, it's like, so exactly what are they thinking? Exactly. Like, I want to be one of those people that can read minds sometimes, because it's like, what are you thinking going around here? And then when a guy says something to you or walks up to you or, makes some type of comment, it's like, oh, why are you saying, they get all offended and can't
Yeah.
believe you would say that. Well, look at you. Like, how else do you expect men to react to you? If you're not going to respect yourself, men aren't going to respect you. Plain and simple.
And that's a good point. That's a good question to even ask the guys in the chat and you is when you dress like that, are you not wanting attention? If you're doing it just for self-expression,
Mhm.
that doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-mm.
To me, it's look at me, look at me. Don't look over there at them people. Look at me. And
Mhm.
don't look at me, look at this.
Mhm.
You got to take away from my face because I want you to look down. Look,
Right.
I'm showing myself to you.
Mhm.
Do you like it? If so, come get it.
Mhm.
Amanda said her husband, when they see women dressed like that, he'll yell if there's a bunch of people like, hey, look at her. Fuck her. I did.
That's a good one.
Letting her know that she's a cheap tramp and stuff like that. And I never heard of that, but that is funny. And
Yep.
I want a guy when I look, and I would hope that a guy's the same way, is I do want them to be attracted to me
Right.
without knowing all that I can offer them underneath the loose clothing, right? But I want you to be attracted, but I also want you to be curious about what's all under that packaging,
Exactly.
what's behind the door, per se. Because
Mhm.
you leave stuff to the imagination so that they take the time to want to get to know you. Hey, Pitbull Mama, I want people to get to know me by unraveling layer by layer. And Tim always says that he'll think he knows me, and then out of the blue, he'll say something, and I'll be like, no, you're wrong. How about this? And he'll be like, it's constantly because as individuals, you're constantly changing and growing.
Mhm.
And that's what helps keeps relationships fresh because you're not going to be who you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago.
Mm-mm.
Neither one of you. So you have to learn to adapt.
Mhm.
And changes are good if they're
Yes.
done with the respect of who you're with, your partner.
Mhm.
But you're not always going to be on the same path. You might veer this way and you might veer this way. As long as that road, just because you take a different path, because you're men and women, you're not always going to be, but as long as that road connects and stays connected,
Mhm.
where you like this activity, I like this activity, but we're still together and doing everything else together.
Right.
People don't get that because they're wanting you to look at how you're dressed.
Mhm.
And then when a man hits it and quit it, those are the ones you got to worry about are going to call you the next day and say, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant. Or not right away, but a couple weeks later, I'm
Right.
pregnant. Or telling people that, yeah, I dumped him because he did this. Why do you got to bash the man? Because you're the one that showed him I'm easy, take it. And when they take it, because you offered it free,
Mhm.
then you got to bash them because they didn't want to stick around because they unwrapped what little left you had and there was nothing else to uncover.
Mhm.
So what is your opinion of women like that when they can't keep a man and they react out of hate like that?
Uh, Sorry, I was going back. I saw something. Somebody made a
No, go
comment
ahead.
that I liked. Amanda, she said there's a time and place to dress like that.
Yep.
That's a good comment. That's true. I mean, I like that comment.
Amanda, we did share some stories of women playing victim in the beginning that you missed, but we were talking about like women who attack men, even on the internet. They got a bunch of lies that they like to put out. Example, if there's been lots of women that like to put out things on Tim. If Tim goes back at him, they play victim to have men come at Tim. Why? But yet it's okay for people on that side to talk about us. And if our men go back, leave a woman alone. So those are the kind of signs. Hey, Derek, how you doing? I remember you from Ontario, Mr. Dark Shadows. Thanks for coming around again. He's from Canada, but women who say they're pregnant to trap a man. and then play that they had a miscarriage. Um, Real life, get a man to sleep with you, a married man, and then get mad because he stays with his wife, so that you got to go and hurt the wife by trying to go to her and tell him what you did.
Mhm.
And that's another thing, Macha, real quick. Let's touch on this is women who attack other women based on what their boyfriends do or their husbands.
I don't think that's right.
Why don't you think that's right?
Well, if they done it, then they done it. I mean, I don't like the fact when people try to blame a spouse or somebody else on something that they should be held accountable for. If my husband goes and says something to someone, well, to another woman or something, and she smacks him across the face, and I find it that it was wrong, I mean, well, you shouldn't have said that.
Mhm.
I mean,
I agree. And for me, let's say a woman is flirting with my boyfriend or a husband. Even let's say even Tim, it's never but let's say if Tim flirts back,
mhm,
it's not the woman's fault that my husband's flirting. Why would I attack the woman and call her a whore when I
mm,
don't have a relationship with her?
right,
He's the piece of shit.
mhm,
My issue should be with the guy.
mhm,
Or men should have the issue with their wife, not the other guy. Quit trying to kill the other guy or go after that other man because you know what? Either he didn't know, or even if he knew, it's not his responsibility. He doesn't owe you anything.
mm-mm,
She don't owe you anything.
no,
The person that you're with is the one who is should be held their feet to the fire, and it's all on them.
mhm,
They're the pieces of shit that broke your trust, not the other person.
mhm,
So you have to decide, do you forgive that person or kick him to the curb? Quit trying to blame another person for getting into your relationship because they couldn't have got in if that person wouldn't have let them in.
exactly,
So, Maga, you don't owe me anything, or I don't owe you anything. If something happened, it why would I blame you if I was dating a guy and he started flirting with you? Why would I be mad and come after you when he's my boyfriend?
right,
I'm gonna go after his ass.
mhm,
And then I'm gonna tell you, well, like today, in today's society, if I always say, if there was a woman who could take my husband from me, then I'm gonna say, honey, enjoy him.
mhm,
I've already had him. You want seconds, go for it. And I'd say, Tim, which I'm not worried about that, but as an example, I'd be like, Tim, Godspeed. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you.
mhm,
I'll be taking half. I hope you have as good as life with them after I'm done with you.
right,
And go because there'll be 10 more lined up after you go.
mhm,
I'm not going to hang on to somebody who doesn't want to be there.
exactly,
And I'm not going to blame somebody else because he don't want to be here or I did something that pushed him away. So ladies, quit going after other women and blaming them and calling them names because the man you were with chose somebody else. It's the man you were with's fault or the woman you're with, guys. If she's a hoe and slinging it, it's not the guy's fault that he took the bait. At one
right,
point, you took the bait.
mhm,
You took her, and now she's just showing her true colors. Be
mhm,
glad. Kick a hoe to the curb. Kick
yep,
male or female. They a dog, they a dog. Don't matter if
yep,
you're male or female.
okay,
So you can't blame other people for coming in between your relationship
no,
because they couldn't do it if one of you didn't let them.
mhm,
So do you have that? If you have anything to add on to that or a different philosophy or what do you think?
no,
Beat both their asses or, I mean,
no, I mean, now I do have one scenario as a
okay.
teenager. Uh, I had somebody that was supposed to be my best friend go and get with my boyfriend. And in that scenario, I was pretty mad. Like, I was mad at both of them because you were supposed to be my best friend. You were my boyfriend. Granted, now, I mean, the way I look at things now is totally different. But when it comes to a scenario like that, to me, that, I could see being mad at both. But now being married, it's a little different now, of course.
It is true. And it's harder when you're married. I will grant you that.
Mm.
And a lot of people want to forgive, but I'm in the mindset that if you build a life together, I don't care if it's only 3 years, it could be
Mhm,
a year, it could be 10, it could be 30.
mhm,
If they step out, that's a big flag, big warning, red light over my head saying, you know what? For them to be able to do that, there were already a lot of little cracks.
mhm.
And if they could be swaying to go that way, persuaded, or I could be persuaded to do something like that, it's a big sign that you've already had one foot out the door and maybe just didn't even know it. Hey, Corliss, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
When it's funny because when I look at Tim, I still see 27 years ago Tim.
right.
Um, I don't see a wrinkle or gray hair. I still, yes, there's attractive guys out there on TV and the movies in real life walking by. Yeah, they're attractive. But hey, eyes, how you doing? I still get butterflies
Mm,
when he comes up and he just wraps his arm around my waist or he comes up to kiss me. I still get those goosebumps from day
right,
one. So for me to be attracted to want to cheat, then I wouldn't have those feelings.
right.
So if you already are lost those feelings or that issue with the person you're dating or that you're engaged to or you're married, that's a warning sign for you that either if you want to be with that person, you better figure out what it is that's causing that and maybe sit down for yourself and think or sit down with that person and talk
Mhm,
or let them know that look, I've been having these thoughts about cheating. I'm ready I'm moving on. I think it's best if we split.
yep,
So you can either work on your relationship, whether it's dating or married, or you can call it quits. But don't step out and then come back and
right.
say, it's so and so. These are the reasons why I did this. No, you
No,
did it because you wanted to do it.
exactly.
You're at fault.
Mm,
Don't put it off and blame on the man or the woman why you cheated.
right. Ex
And go ahead. That's what I was going to ask you. What are your thoughts?
Well, me and my husband, we have an agreement since the very beginning. If he ever thought of, cheating or he saw someone else he liked better or wanted or however you want to say it, or me the same way, we both made a pact of if we ever started feeling that way or losing feelings, that we would sit down and talk about it like adults.
Yep.
I mean, because I would rather talk it out and know what's coming, or if he's not happy or I'm not happy, I would rather tell him, "Hey, I'm not happy in this anymore. You know, I think maybe, we should separate or whatever."
Yep.
So,
And maybe it's as simply as maybe they'd like you to dress a little sexy at night. That's something like that, that maybe they saw a woman dress sexy
mhm,
and they want to see you, because you're so busy with work, you're in your work clothes and come home and take them off, put on sweats. Maybe they just want you to wear something sexy once in a while for them. Or maybe it's you needing them to be a little bit more explorative for you.
right,
It could be something as simple as that, but
mhm,
it's also that you still have to have that love and those emotions for that person to respect them to do that and talk to them.
right,
And if the person's not receptive, guess what? That's another cue. You're not willing to to meet me halfway so that we can do this together and try, then if he does go out after he's talked to you or she's got, you got to take stock in, in that situation too.
Right.
So, all right. I know you've got to get dinner ready for your hubby, and I do too. We did our hour and a half. As you guys know, we're a little late. I had to be got stuck at the pharmacy picking up some meds after doctors. But we will see you next Wednesday again off the hip. I hope everybody has a great night. Don't forget, tonight we're at HBR's with Late Night Crew. We have Loki's tomorrow night and for his channel for Late Night Crew. And hope to see you there later tonight. Macha, once again, thank you for joining Off the Hip. Glad
Thank
to
you for
have you
having me.
as a partner.
Well,
We got to get her speaking more and coming up with some of her ideas. And she knows I've told her to, she's with this in this with me now. So we want to definitely hear more from Macha, don't we, guys, in the chat? So I hope everybody has a great rest of your Wednesday. Don't forget, Wednesday's hump day. Get it in while you can get it in. All day, every day, Wednesdays. Anything you want to tell everybody, Macha?
thanks for coming, guys, and it was fun. And sorry about chat not interacting that much, but I'm getting there. And thank you, Laurie, for having me. I appreciate it.
Don't ever thank me. I'm glad that you joined. And you know what? It's funny is I was nervous like you were, and I didn't know how to engage the chat at first. So you've actually, just in the last 2 times that you have come up on panel, you have engaged. I saw you typing in the chat and engaging and talking more. As you get more comfortable, you'll be just fine.
Well,
You're doing great. Just know that you're doing great. And I appreciate you coming up and, sometimes you can make real friends on here, guys. You really can. You just don't rush into it. It's something that builds and people gets to see each other. Me and Maka used to just say hi, and that was about it in chats.
yeah.
And then it slowly started doing more and more and more. And then we talked behind the scenes. And yeah, now I'm glad she's a friend of mine, and I'm glad to be a friend of hers. So,
Same here.
yep. So I do have a couple group of good friends on here, and you all know who you are. You know that. So, Maka, you're doing great. They said it is a little weird, but Lori makes it easy.
Yes, she does.
I
Thanks,
try.
Miranda.
I do talk a lot. I'm a very talkative person. So I do have to learn how to stop and let others talk. So don't ever apologize if you're talking and you step on me. When you have more than one person on a panel, just roll with it. Just
Well,
step on me when you have to and go.
mm.
So, all right, everybody. Eyes, I'm glad you make it toward the end, but you know what? I appreciate you, girl, for coming around. Like I said, we hit and miss each other because we usually go live at the same time or different. Yeah, I popped Amanda's panel cherry too, Macha.
Ah, nice.
I've done quite a few people's first time on a panel. You know who Chase and Brittany are, right? They were part of the Littles.
It seems like I've seen them around.
Well, I broke her cherry too on a panel.
Nice.
So I love it. The more women that get up here and speak their opinions and the voices, because not all the women have different opinions or thoughts.
Right.
And that's my whole goal, is that all of us women get up here. We have our own content, but we also can show that you could lift each other up and be friends and have different opinions too.
Right.
Oh, and Denise has been on a panel with me too. So, or Chance. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I said Chase. I don't know where Chase came from, but Chance. Chance and Brittany.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I've seen him around. Yeah, I think I remember seeing them both around.
Yeah. That Chance has not been around much lately. I think he's with the summer months and the farm and everything. So like that. But all right, everybody, have a great week. We'll see you later next Wednesday, same time. Well, back to our 4 o'clock time. If nothing fails, but we will definitely be back next Wednesday. You all have a blessed day.